Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Peak, and today is my mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Ma. I love you, Ma. I never called her Ma. It's kind of funny I said that. Um, so anyway, um, I've missed a week. I know that I started this podcast saying that I was going to do one a week, and I've been very consistent with that, sometimes doing two or more a week, but we've had a death in the family. My wife's dad, Sammy, passed away. We've been sort of expecting it, but he was fighting cancer. He had cancer in his lungs. He had cancer in his colon. He had cancer in his esophagus. He had cancer in his brain, and it finally just decided to take him, which is bad and good. I know that sounds terrible, but I know he was very uncomfortable and very miserable and was losing his faculties to walk without hanging on to things. He was having trouble in his place just getting to the bathroom and back. And he really did not want to get to the point where people had to wipe his butt. And I know that sounds sort of crass to anybody who doesn't understand, but it is depressing to be that debilitated. Um, he was a very independent guy, and it was tough. So anyway, we um, we had to make adjustments. I was on my way to visit my friend Gregory down in Albany, Georgia. His band 95 was going to perform 95 at a place called the Pub, and I was taking all of my cameras and stuff to record the event and help him make some content for social media. And I made it past Augusta when my wife called me upset, and I turned around and drove back. Um, I got her, and we drove to his place in Roundo, and then spent time with family there. We came home later that evening and packed up and went down to where he was going to be buried. And luckily, it was in the hometown where she grew up, and we have a place to stay there with her mom. And I got video on YouTube of us going and visiting where they're building an RV park campground called Mutt's Place RV. And it was a sad time. It was a time to get together with family and to hug necks and tell everybody we love them and remind ourselves of why we do the things that we do, and it's for each other. So anyway, there was never a proper time to turn on microphones and talk to you guys, and I really didn't know what to say. I was struggling with what to say in general. There's things that happen in our personal lives that are personal. There are things that happen in our family that's personal, and I do overshare a bit. I mean, this is sort of the struggle that we have in life. The things that we go through are sort of our common thread. What I've learned is writing with different people and constantly having a conversation with someone who's not me is that we all have commonality between us. In this case, I mean, we're all going to be born and we're all going to die at some point. Now, I'm not in a hurry to get there. I hope it doesn't happen tomorrow, but I hope that I live enough of a life in between where I feel like I've lived enough and I want to do enough. I want to fill in as much in that dash as possible. And the goal I think of this podcast is to continue that conversation and to continue to inspire people to get off their butts and do the things that they've been putting off and experience life. Whether it is starting your business, whether it is chasing a dream, whether it is going on vacation or organizing your finances or whatever. I want to do that. I want to be able to help people understand that they can do that because I figured it out. And I'm not that smart. I'm a solid C student. I have dyslexia. I read really poorly. Um, I don't listen sometimes because I'm in the middle of some ADD thought about, you know, hey, how does that? I heard I heard somebody say that in Star Wars one time. Who was that? That was so and so. Oh, look, something shiny. I have all these things. I have anxiety. I have depression. I have all of the things that people talk about they're battling with. I have all those things. I'm just as messed up as everybody else. But for me, talking about it helps. Talking to you guys helps. Just having it out loud helps. Because in some rationality in my brain, I think if I talk about it, I share it, and then I'm not holding it by myself. It's like carrying a load. If you carry a load long enough, you're going to get exhausted and you're going to fall apart and you're going to drop the thing, right? If you share the load, then it's not so much of a burden. So I overshare specifically so I can lighten my load. And you guys are to thank. Thank you for listening. Thank you for paying attention. I'm getting close to 100,000 downloads. It's crazy. I had no idea when I started this thing that anybody would listen. So thank you so much for listening. Let me talk about stuff I heard. This is stuff I heard, and I know I kind of started this out on a down note, but let's kick it off. Okay. So some things that I've been interested in since we last spoke. I got turned on to a couple things while I was at the funeral. There is a YouTube channel called Itchy Boots, and I want a proper podcaster to sit down and talk to this lady about her travels. Go on YouTube and type in Itchy Boots. You're not going to be upset. This is fascinating. This woman is from Holland. She lives her life on a motorcycle and just travels. It's kind of a dirt bike, all-terrain type bike, and she just goes all the time by herself. Just her and a couple of GoPros. She has a drone that she films really cool shots on sometimes. And while she's in areas, she has adventures and she figures things out and she talks to community and she sort of helps like investigate different things and just be a part of the community for a small period of time. But her ultimate goal is just to get on the motorcycle and ride everywhere. I mean, ride the entire planet. I got turned on to this thing when I was down there, and we must have watched a good 10 videos, and each video is 30 minutes to an hour long. And I was just like, man, this lady is awesome. And I was amazed at how many languages she spoke and how easily she's able to go from one country to another, just almost seamlessly. There's so many things that could happen to her along the way. Not just injury of falling down and that sort of thing, but she's by herself. I mean, I can't imagine what situations she's had to avoid, with physical abuse or whatever. But yeah, she's navigating the globe and finding places to get fuel, petrol, and finding places to get repairs, or sometimes repairing the motorcycle on her own, or, getting food and lodging. And, it's just, it's an inspiration to watch. She is an inspiration. And I really hope that somebody reaches out to her and can have a proper conversation with her and give her the praise that she needs for her channel. She does all this by herself, and it is fascinating. It is really fascinating. Rogan, listen, I know Rogan doesn't listen to me, but somebody close to Rogan, like, point out to him, he needs to check out Itchy Boots. This would be right up Bert Kreischer's avenue. If you want to have her on the podcast, dude, you need to have her on the podcast. She is amazing. Right now she's going through, Nicaragua and Honduras. And I think she starts the thing where it says something about Expedition Alaska. I think she's doing the entire tip of the South Pole, tip of South America, all the way up into Alaska drive. So she's heading to the States, and she's taking her time sort of going through Honduras and checking things out and going to islands. And and riding and experiencing life in every one of these places. And it's just fascinating to watch. So anyway, I don't know the woman's name. I'm an idiot when it comes to that sort of thing. I don't think about it until after the fact, and I'm like, wait, what was her name? She's fascinating. Itchy Boots. Check it out. Um, okay, so the other channel that I watched on YouTube is Matt's Off-Road Recovery. They are, I think, in Utah, and they have a full-time business helping people who are stuck with their off-road vehicles or vehicles that aren't supposed to be off-road being stuck, and they go and they help them get out of the situation that they're in, or they, a vehicle is wedged in between rocks or stuck in the desert, and they go and they recover the vehicle, and they help people get back on their feet and keep going. I watched one the other day where a guy had a brand new Bronco and he broke a tie rod, and the only way to fix it or to get them going in any way was the guy had to hook up two vehicles side by side with a 24-volt welder. They cut the tie rod. They fashioned up a piece of tubular metal on the inside and the outside of the rod there, and hooked two batteries together to this 24-volt welder thing, and then welded it so that they could drive out of there to get to a tow truck thing or a flatbed that was further down the mountain. I'm watching the whole thing going, holy cow, this is so cool. This is right up my buddy Danny's alley. I reached out to Danny and I was like, hey, have you ever watched this channel? And he wrote back, yes, I love that channel. And they custom built this off-road vehicle that is part Corvair station wagon and part 4x4 monster truck type thing. Plus, it's the main vehicle that they use to recover people with. It's called the Morvair, Morr Vair. The MOR, of course, is the Matt's Off-Road Recovery. Matt's Off-Road, yeah, MOR, Morvair. There is an interesting cast of people on the show. They definitely know what they're doing with editing. The cast is pretty creative and interesting all on their own. And they honestly probably make more money doing this by themselves than they would if, say, Discovery Channel were to put them on, like TV shows used to be back in the day. You don't need a network now to tell you you're doing a good job. You just keep doing a good job and people find you. People like me, people who talk about it. I mean, this is stuff I heard. I'm talking about it now. I'm telling you guys, you need to check out Matt's Off-Road Recovery. Very cool channel. From that channel, I happened to go down the rabbit hole of somebody took a Tesla off-road and got it stuck and they had to go recover it. And I was like, wait, like it dawned on me. Has anybody taken a Tesla and turned it into an off-road vehicle, like a proper off-road vehicle? And of course there is. There's a guy that's been on Rogan that helped out this team of people, and they fully modified a destroyed Tesla that had been in an accident. They cut it up. They put off-road tires on it. They, made the suspension so that it could go off-road, and then they rebuilt everything. It had radiators, which I thought, why would a Tesla need radiators? There's nothing to cool, is there? But I thought, well, maybe for the air conditioning, there's a I don't know. There's radiators in the front. They had to move them, and there's a whole modification thing they did with the wheels and the wheel wells and the suspension, and it was like an hour-long video. And I didn't watch the whole thing. I skipped over, but I did see them go off-roading, and it was pretty cool. So I think more people are going to do that sort of thing in the future. They're going to take that off-road idea or the Tesla idea, and they're going to modify it to their lifestyle, whether it's with hot rods or late mods or, off-road vehicles or whatever. I think people are going to do more of that in the future. There is a group out there that's making old vintage style cafe racer motorcycles fully electric. And from what I can tell, they're going to have a range of about 100 miles. And I'm thinking, this might be the ticket for me to go back and forth to work and save gas. Because right now my truck, I got a 2013 Dodge Ram, and my truck drinks a lot of fluid. It's a gas guzzler. Gas right now has come down a little bit. I think I paid $3.83 a gallon this last time. And it's got a 23-gallon tank, 25-gallon tank, somewhere in there. So it's expensive to fill up. Now, typically I drive back and forth to work, and that's it. Now, if I do that, I can go about 2 weeks on a tank of gas, sometimes a little more. And that's not so terrible. But this is the but. But if I had an electric motorcycle and I didn't pay for gas to go back and forth to work, I'm saving my mileage on my vehicle. I'm saving the wear and tear on my truck. And honestly, I would only drive the truck to go to the grocery store. And, when we go out of town to do stuff. Um, but I could really get into that. I've been toying around with the idea of selling the truck and getting a Jeep. I've mentioned that before, I think, on here. I don't know if I'm going to get a project Jeep and work on it along the way, or if I'm going to just sell the truck and get a Jeep, because of the idea that you only have one butt to sit in a seat. So why not make it the seat that you want to drive? And again, that I'm still not dissuaded from the idea of an electric motorcycle. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. I mean, really thinking about it. I would have to take a backpack with me, of course, because I got gear for work and that sort of thing. And I'd have to have saddlebags because they're building a Buc-ee's right by where I work. And if, we're going to make it some kind of routine where I'm stopping by there on a regular basis for us to have snacks from Buc-ee's. They should be opening up soon here in Florence on exit 170 off of I-95. And when they do, I'm going to make videos of being the dumb tourist and being like, we got a Buc-ee's. I'm going to go crazy. And I'm going to have Greg down here, and Greg's going to run around like a crazy person too. And yeah, so that's coming. Just letting you know, that's coming. All right, let's talk about a couple of things here that I've watched. I've watched Mosquito Coast on Apple Plus. I talked about it a little bit before. The movie had Harrison Ford as the dad. I had to research that because I thought it was somebody else. I thought it was William Hurt. But it's Harrison Ford as the dad, and a young River Phoenix playing his son. And River Phoenix, to me, that was the first time I'd seen River Phoenix act, and I was blown away. I became an immediate fan. He was around my age and was a gifted actor from the very moment I saw him on the screen. And if you watch that movie, you'll understand why he was a movie star. Now, he's passed away, and with the way content goes nowadays, they're trying to recreate some sort of nostalgia for people to watch shows. So Apple Plus has come out with a TV show called Mosquito Coast, and the main character, Dad, is Justin Theroux. Now, I watched Justin Theroux on an HBO series called The Leftovers a while back. The Leftovers is fascinating. It's kind of like Lost. It is crazy, the stuff that happens. I'm not going to go into it right now, but I will tell you that he is proud to be fully nude on screen. And yeah, dude's hung like a horse, full frontal in one scene in that show, and I was like, holy cow. And he was married to Jennifer Aniston at the time, and I was thinking, has anybody put two to two together and realized that she's a pole vaulter? Because man, that's a lot of equipment for a young lady to take, or any lady. So good for you, Justin. Pretty impressive. But yeah, so Mosquito Coast. He plays a dad who's like a really genius kind of guy. Apparently, him and his family are on the run. They've changed their identity multiple times. They're trying to stay off the grid. And you don't exactly know why. I finished the whole first season, and I still don't exactly know why. But they're trying to escape, and a lot of bad stuff happens while they're trying to escape. And the show is compelling. The show has some good actors in it. The young daughter in it is supposed to be finishing up high school and looking at going to college. There's a young boy in it who is interesting in his own regard. The mom is very interesting. The family unit itself is very interesting, but the story is interesting. Um, there's a guy in it that was in The Leftovers with Justin Theroux. Um, and I'm kind of curious if they're going to have more of a plot line with him in season two. I finished season one. It was good. Um, very, very exciting, very dramatic, very intense the whole way through. And I think they did a good job of it. I'm interested to see what they're going to do in season two, or even if it gets picked up. Nowadays somebody comes up with an idea and then there's so many ideas out there that nobody watches it. And after a while, they just go, yeah, we can that idea because nobody watched it. Yeah, I mean, you got to hit it out of the park big time in order to make it nowadays. Um, so the Academy Awards happened, or the Oscars happened, excuse me, and there was an incident. Apparently, Chris Rock was hosting, and he made a comment about Jada Pinkett not having any hair, saying something like, "Hey, he's doing crowd work." He's like, "Hey, loved you in GI Jane too," and I guess Will Smith got pissed off about it. He walked up on stage and slapped Chris Rock, and then yelled at him from his seat about, you know, basically don't talk about my wife or something. And he was upset. Now, that breaks a lot of rules for a lot of reasons. But most importantly, it's sort of known to the public that she came out on her own show. What's it called? Red Table or something like that. And basically said they have an open marriage and that she's been seeing a couple of people. And he's not okay. He's really not doing okay. I think this was all a side effect of all this stuff going on, and he's just not dealing with it well. I think their relationship is strained. I think they're having a hard time with it. I think that, apparently she has alopecia, which is why she's losing her hair, which alopecia is an autoimmune disease. And it's not that uncommon. I mean, I've known people with it, but I guess it just hit a nerve with him and he decided to react. Now, there's a lot of people saying, is comedy in jeopardy? Is this a thing where we're going to have to worry about this sort of thing from now on? Probably. Yeah. What's the answer? Do you have security stand by the stage? Probably. Yeah. Do you ask Joe Rogan to host? Because if somebody comes up to slap him, he's gonna mule kick you into the third row of the arena. So maybe that's an answer. But he also wouldn't do it because he could give a crap about celebrities and all the pompousness. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is going to be. It is a interesting footnote to the world going on and how much press it got, considering we're still watching a war between Russia and the Ukraine happen on television like it's another sporting event. And it's not. There's people that are dying, and the media just shifted to where this was the number one thing to talk about. It's so interesting how the media decides what's important. And people follow blindly. It's crazy. All right, Will Smith, I hope you get some help. Chris, you took that slap pretty well, man. I watched the transition. I didn't watch the Oscars. I could care less. I watched the clip of it, and then I watched you take the slap and go, Will just slap the shit out of me. I mean, basically, and then just picked right back up and just kept doing his lines and hosting. And he was a professional. And it wasn't cool. But listen, Chris is a comedian. He's gonna have jokes about this later. Listen, there's a certain element in comedy where they just want things to happen sometimes because they're going to find the joke in it. I heard somebody say that if this had happened to Dave Chappelle, he'd have hosted a 3-hour special where he'd have talked about this nonstop. So don't rule that out. Still happening, by the way. Yeah. So, Will, I hope you get some help, buddy. Not that you listen to this podcast, but just saying it out loud. Listen, you gotta hope for things, and you gotta say things out loud in order for them to happen, right? Um, Sometimes you got to be careful what you wish. I remember a long time ago, I wished that I was doing something. I was so bored. I just wanted to do something. And then a lot of things happened. And then I just wanted to rest. I was like, I just need to rest. And then I got injured and I just rested. And then I was like, I just want to go back to work. And then I did. And I got so busy again. I was like, man, I really got to be careful what I wish for. I used to pray for patience. I used to pray all the time that I wish I was more patient because I had a quick temper. And so God, in his infinite wisdom, decided to test my patience a lot. And I'm still learning patience. It is not easy. I'm doing better with it. I'm doing a lot better with it. But it is made for a lot of sleepless nights. It is made for a lot of upset stomachs. But I am doing better at not reacting as much as I used to. So, I said one time that I really should have some outlet to say some of these things, and I don't have one. But that's what therapy's for. So maybe I should talk to somebody professionally. Maybe it would help. That's for another podcast. All right. That's about it. That's all I got. Um, I'm watching a real interesting show on Netflix right now. It's from the creators of Big Mouth. It's an animated show about growing up in adolescence and how you have hormone monsters and that sort of thing. And this was called Human Resources, and it's much of the same cast. This time it's all of the emotions and things that you have going on inside of you. What if it was like a job? And what if it's an interesting what if? And it's crude, it's crass, it's vulgar. Not a show for my mom. My friends would love it. It's pretty funny. But it's Nick Kroll and his crew from Big Mouth all in this, and it's hilarious. So I'm enjoying that. And I also watched Coda. I mean, that's the whole reason I started talking about the Oscars. Coda. Coda's a movie that came out on Apple Plus. I guess it won Best Picture or something like that. I don't even know. I didn't research it. I just seen it won an award. So I watched it last night. I don't recommend watching it before bed. It was emotional. I got emotional, but I'm an emotional person. It's about a family of, you know, husband, wife, son, daughter, and all of them are deaf except for the daughter. The daughter is sort of their interpreter with the speaking world. She's the one who sort of keeps them in check and keeps them going and helps them communicate with the outside world. And the father and the son and the daughter get up at 3 a.m. every day, and they're fishermen and they go fishing. And then as soon as they can get back to shore, she has to haul butt to get to school and is struggling with her schoolwork because she's so tired all the time. And she happens to sort of accidentally, sign up for a chorus class because there's a guy that she likes, and she overheard him saying that he was signing up for chorus. And she likes to sing. She's singing on the boat, and nobody can hear her but her. And she goes to chorus, and she sings, and she's incredible. And my wife made a comment. She goes, "What are you watching?" Because she was reading. She's like, "It sounds like you're watching High School Musical meets some sort of drama." And I was like, "Yep, that's exactly what it is." The family doesn't understand that she has this talent that's something they can't even appreciate. And the young actress who's playing this character is incredible. She has an incredible voice. She's a good actress. And she also had to learn fluent sign language I don't understand fluent sign language, but I'm assuming you have to be fluent in order to play this part because she's signing to everybody. And there's a very emotional part at the end where she's signing to her family as she's singing, and it was beautiful. And I like the family. They're hilarious. They're the way they communicate is very funny. Because it is two different worlds. It is the world of the hearing and the world of the not. And watching it, there's so much of life that we take for granted. And it's not until you lose some part of that that you appreciate how precious all of it is. The ability to hear, the ability to hear songs, singing, sometimes just interactions with people on a vocal level. You know, it's great until you don't have it, and then it's really precious. Um, Same thing with sight. I took sight for granted until I lost vision in one eye, pretty much, and it's better-ish. I'm still waiting for a special contact lens thing that's going to happen at some point. But anyway, that's it. I'm gonna wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys, I appreciate every one of you. I have many things happening right now with future podcasts coming up, and I will get to those. I will get to everybody. I just got to organize it. So that's part of the plan. All right. I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks for listening. If you haven't yet, please remember to rate, review, subscribe, share this with your friends, and as always, cue the cow.
So I want you guys to give me more likes. Give me more likes.